All right, guys, so I'm back with another video. Today what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a frequently asked questions video. Um, when I started these videos, I never imagined that I would get the kind of response that I've been getting. I probably get, no joke, anywhere between 10 and 20 emails a day of people asking for the pre-trip guide that I created when I was in class, or asking certain questions, or whatever the case may be. And so today I'm going to do some frequently asked questions. One thing you guys have all said about my videos is you love how exact and to the point these videos are. So for this frequently asked questions video, what we're going to do is I'm going to put the list and time that the questions come up in the video, so you don't have to waste your time watching the whole video. If you're looking for one specific question, look in the description below. I'll have each question and the time that it shows up in the video. Then you can just skip to the timeline, go straight to that question, and get the answer you're looking for. If you want to watch the whole video, fantastic. Before I start with the questions, I do need to address something. Something that's actually kind of bothering me, and I don't know what to do about it, and I want your guys' opinion. I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, if I use you as a referral, will you kick back, $1,000 or $500 or whatever? And I would love to do that, and I've been trying to figure out a way to do that. And I know this is a little bit personal, but I have to be honest with you guys, like I've been in all these videos. I'm giving you my point of view, my honest opinions, based on my experiences. And the problem that I have right now is, before I started at Walmart about 1.5 years ago, I had to file Chapter 13 bankruptcy. So I was trying to figure out, because I first had to call my lawyer and find out, how are these referrals going to affect me? Because yes, they do give $5,000 for a referral now, but they also take about 50%, it's maybe closer to 45% in taxes. I've only gotten 4 so far this year. The first one I got, the amount that came on my check of the first part, because that's the other thing about the $5,000, is they break it up into 2 parts. The first part is $2,500. The second part, 6 months later, if that person is still here, is $2,500. So my wife was a little concerned, and a family member of mine that I was discussing this with was concerned, is what if the person isn't there in 6 months? And I gave him $1,000. I'm out. The other problem is, I only got, out of that first $2,500 part, I think on my check, after taxes and everything else, I got about $1,300. So if I gave somebody $1,000 and they weren't here 6 months later, I made $300. The person got $1,000. They got more than three times more than I did. And it was supposed to be my referral for being hired for the company. So that was problem number 1. Problem number 2 is, my lawyer has told me that this is going to, even just the 4 that I've gotten so far, is going to throw my gross, and with Walmart's new amazing pay policy, is going to throw me into another tax bracket, and it's going to raise my gross income. So they are going to have to readjust my Chapter 13. Now, I haven't gotten all the info on that yet, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't know what I can afford to give somebody, and I would love to give you guys something. So here's my thought. Maybe I could give everybody $100 or $200 of the first stipend when I get it for being my referral. And again, that's money that I paid taxes on, and then at the end of the year, I'm going to owe taxes, or I got to adjust my taxes anyway. That's a side point. But that's just money that I'm out because of the tax code, which I called a CPA to find out, what can I do? Can I use this as a tax write-off? The tax code no longer allows a W-2 to have a miscellaneous expense. So if I gave somebody $200 per referral and I had 4 of them, that's $800 that I gave away that I can't write off on my taxes, and it's just gone. And now I understand, if I was to give somebody $200 to make 25, or in this case 13 after taxes, I'm going to end up owing taxes at the end of the year. So I'm not going to get to personally keep 13. It might be closer to 1,000. To give somebody 2,000 to make 1,000 is a good investment mathematically. I understand. For those of you that are going to be like, well, you could do something. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I've had some people get upset with me that I couldn't give them a portion of my referral. And I kind of understand where they're coming from. I'm not mad at them people. I get it. So I'm talking to a company right now. It's basically like a prize insurance company. So basically this is just a theoretical happenstance that could take place. I would pay that company $1,000 and they would send me an envelope with a number in it. Maybe that number, I tell you guys, hey, everybody who used me as a referral, I'm going to put you in this drawing and I'm going to pull a name and that person is going to get a chance at $10,000. So what I'm going to do is they're going to send me an envelope. I'm going to tell you guys, hey, whatever it is, you're going to pick a number between 1 and 50 or 1 and 25 or 1 and 10. I don't know what the odds would be. But they'll tell me the game, and they'll say that driver or that person that won the contest will choose a number. If your number is correct, you win $10,000. Now, I didn't have to give you $10,000. I paid maybe $500 or $1,000, whatever the amount would be, and I'm still working on all that. But I would pay for the insurance policy to where if you won that contest, you won $10,000. What do you guys think of something like that? Would you all rather me just give you $100 or $200 per referral and be done with it? Or, and maybe if I did $100 per person, I could still afford to do the contest. But do you guys like the idea of a contest at a chance to win $10,000? Or, I mean, I could even make it 25, depending on how much the insurance policy is. If I can afford it, I would love to make that number as big as possible. Or maybe even have multiple people try at this. Or maybe I could have a thing set up to where I could give every referral. And I don't know yet. I'm working on those details. But what I want to know from you guys, if you use me as a referral, is what can I, now that you know my honest situation, what can I do for you? How can I help you help me? That's basically what it boils down to. I'm open to any comments, anything you guys have got. I'll listen to everybody. I may not be able to do what you want me to do, but I'm going to take it into consideration. Like I said, I've gotten 4 referrals so far this year. It looks like I'm on line to get 4 or 5 more in the next month or two. I don't get a lot of referrals. I get a ton of emails, people wanting me to help them. I got no problem with that. I'm willing to help anybody because this is the information I was looking for when I started this video series. The other thing is my tax person told me if I could get this channel to 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 hours, all the stuff that YouTube needs for me to monetize the channel, then I can do tax write-offs on the YouTube channel and I would be able to give you guys a lot more back in ways of maybe being subscribers or maybe being referrals or whatever. I could do a lot more for you guys on this channel if I can get the numbers up. So if you guys would subscribe to the channel, I'd greatly appreciate it. Again, when I started this, I never imagined that this YouTube channel was going to be anything like it is right now. I literally thought I would put the information out there. A couple hundred people might see it. I mean, I've done podcasts in the past. I did a show called Doc Daniel's Country Show, which technically no longer exists. I don't even know if you guys can find it out there. I did it for over a year, and I was getting like 10 listeners. So when I started the YouTube channel, I never expected anything like this. But I am more than happy to help you guys. The other benefit of using me as a referral, or anybody, if you have anybody that you can use as a referral, is some of us have found out in the last month or so, if you use me or someone as a referral and you get stuck, the first trick I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you a phone number based on your area or your situation that my boss has given me. So if you get stuck and you email me, my email will be down below, drcarricudj@gmail.com. I'm going to send you a phone number and a way to get in contact with somebody to get in with Walmart. If that doesn't work, or if for some reason, and it's happened a couple times, where you call that number and the person tells you, oh, well, we don't know what's wrong with your application, or we don't know what's going on, or we can't find you, or whatever the situation is. If you used me as a referral, I can go to my boss, and my boss can go into the portals. He can talk to different departments because he's manager of my terminal, and if he can't get a solution because you are a referral of mine, he will contact his area manager and try to figure out what's going on. And we've had to do this for a couple people. We've got a couple people we're still working with, and they didn't use me as a referral. Well, a couple of them didn't, but the ones that don't use me as a referral, my boss is like, okay, well, I'll get to it when I can. If they're a referral of mine, he's trying to help me out, so he's a little bit more likely to help you out. The other thing that they're doing right now, and this really doesn't do anything for me personally, there is a contest going on for referrals that is going to go through the month of July. Up until right now, I think the end of July is the cutoff for the contest. And the DC that has the most referrals is going to get I think it's a steak cookout or something like that. There's some big prize or something like that. So any referral you guys throw my way helps my DC win this event, which I don't think there's anything for the actual driver who has the most referrals. I did ask that question, and he said he didn't think so at that time. And again, I'm not worried so much about me or whatever, but I thought, hey, if I could help my DC win this cookout or whatever, that'd be pretty cool. And since I'm kind of new at the DC, you know, might help me make some friends where I'm working at. So anyway, all right, so I'm going to start this question part. Again, like I said, if there's something you want to know that I don't answer, email me. If there's a certain question you're looking for, look in the description below. I'll list all the questions and the timestamp so you can just skip in this video and go directly to that part of the video to find the answer you want. So first question that I get. It's been over a week since I applied. I didn't get a call. And as I mentioned a moment ago, email me, let me know what's going on, stay in contact with me. If you used me as a referral, I kick it up to my boss. We start working on things. If you didn't use me as a referral, I still might be able to help. I still might be able to at least give you the phone number. And then after that, you might be on your own. My boss might still be able to help out, whatever, but that'll be a bridge that we'll have to cross at that point in time. And, you know, maybe I can think of something, or I can talk to another driver, or there's something I can do to help you out. I work midnights, so a lot of you guys, if you email me at night, I pretty much get back to you at my next stop, the morning, the evening, whatever. If it's during the day, I get back to you when I wake up. I do try to answer all the emails I get. I realized I had a family issue. We had a funeral and a thing that we were dealing with over the past couple of weeks. So I realized there were a couple of you that I missed on accident. If I missed you, it was not intentional. I'm terribly sorry about that. I have a spreadsheet that I keep track of all of the people that I'm helping. And there were a couple that I just missed. And again, I apologize, but I had a family situation, and I just kind of lost track of time, and I kind of forgot to keep up on the email side because I wasn't at work. I was at home dealing with some situations. So if I did miss you, I'm sorry. If you still need something, or if there's something I can do for you, if you need the pre-trip guide, you know, send me an email. I can still send you that. I just may have accidentally missed you. Another question that I get quite often, I don't want to say quite often, but I've gotten this at least 3 times, is what if I have a felony on my record? Now, the way Walmart handles felonies is a case-per-case basis. It could be something minor, non-violent, and I'm pretty sure they overlook most of those if the right amount of time has gone by and all the legal situations are taken care of. I think and this part's my opinion, I think the only ones they don't overlook are violent felonies, and that I'm not 100% sure. But here's the thing. If you have a felony, it doesn't hurt to fill out the application. Drive number 4, walmart.com, fill out the application, start the process. What's going to happen is you're going to get a call. Right now, it's been a couple days because there's been a lot of people applying. Once word got out that Walmart raised their pay, everybody applied for Walmart. It may take a day or 2, up to 3 days. If you do not hear from somebody after 3 days and you think your felony is what kept you from getting the job or a callback or whatever, email me. I will give you a phone number that you can call and see if we can't figure something out. If nothing else, you should be able to get a hold of a recruiter. Now, if we get to that point where you finally get a hold of a recruiter and they tell you, oh, it's because of XYZ. You now have the answer to figure that out. If not, we'll figure something else after that. I had to kick one of these up to my boss. One person had failed a pre-trip drugs or a pre-employment drug screen at another company, and it was because of CBD oil. We had to go through, I had to get, my boss didn't even know the answer. We had to go to safety, and we had to get the safety director involved and get their opinion. And my safety manager had to contact that. And it was a big fiasco, but we found out that if you were, it was a pre-employment drug screen and not a random DOT drug screen, one of those types, that it shouldn't matter. So they ended up getting it resolved, and I believe the person did end up getting on with Walmart. I don't remember exactly, but I know that was one of the situations. So any type of legal issue, felony, things like that, it doesn't hurt to apply and try. If you don't get an answer, message me, email me, and we'll see if we can. It's better to email me than it is to leave a message in YouTube. For some reason, I sometimes don't get the YouTube notifications. So email me, and we'll work on that. One of the other questions I get quite a bit is, what if I don't have 30 months of experience in 3 years? Some people took time off for a childbirth, or maybe they switched jobs. And I had one person, I think they went to work for the safety department of their company and drove part-time or whatever. If you don't have 30 months, the best thing to do is to wait until you have 30 months and then apply maybe a week or two, but not much more than that, before the 30 months deadline, because they will check your application. If you don't have 30 months on your application, they're not going to call you. Now, if you fudge the numbers, I'm not saying to do this, but if you fudge the numbers to make it look like you've got 30 months, and they call you and they say, okay, is this right? Is this right? They're going to verify all that information. Then they're going to send that to Hire Right to confirm all of this. If that information isn't accurate, out, you're getting kicked out of the system. And then you either have to wait 6 months to reapply or may not be able to reapply based on how your lie took place. So don't do that. But if you're just a week or two on the cusp, go ahead and apply. If you don't get an answer in a couple days or a week, email me. I'll give you a number. You can get a hold of somebody and find out, hey, is that what stopped me, or was it something else? Because there is a mistake a lot of people make, and there's a question that says, were you involved in a preventable accident? And a lot of people click yes to that just because they were in an accident. The keyword is preventable. Somebody had an issue where a person rear-ended their truck. That's not a preventable on your part, so you would click no to that question. And I might advise everybody to click no to that question. I'm not saying Walmart's going to miss it if you had one, but if you're not sure, I mean, if you know you had a preventable, then of course don't lie. But if you're not sure, click no. The worst that could happen is they could run your background and say, what was this accident? And then you can say, oh, well, I wasn't sure, or I didn't think that was preventable, or whatever the case may be. And you can work it out with Walmart at that point in time and maybe get past that. But if you click yes on that question, it flags your application and you're out. It's done. And they won't even call you to tell you why you didn't get a response to your application. So make sure that you click no on that question if you can, and then talk over with recruiter and go through the process that way. What kind of backing do they have us do at the onboarding? Now, I have done a video for the backing since then. If I can figure out, again, I never imagined this YouTube channel being what it is. So if I can figure out how to put that video at this point, I'll link that video here in the video. If not, I will have a link to that video in the description, or you can just find it on my channel. I've only got like 7 videos. But I did a video tutorial on the backing that they will have you do at onboarding. There's no blind backing. They don't make you parallel park. I don't think it's as difficult as what it was to get your license. What they will have you do is basically pull up. There'll be a trailer on your right side. You'll pull up next to it. You'll snake around it, and you'll get curved, and then you'll back in between two trailers. It's not a standard, 45, where you like a park at a truck stop. It's more of a curve back, because when you're coming into a store, they want to kind of recreate that exact backing situation. So when you come to a store, you're driving along the building, and then the docks are going to be on your passenger side, so you're going to kind of snake in front of the dock, you're going to kind of straighten out, or you're going to be at an angle, and you're going to kick it in between two trailers or into one of the 2 or 3 docks or whatever the store setup is. But they're almost all identical. Only a couple stores are you gonna really have to blindside back into, and I think there's one in Indiana that I can remember. But there's not a lot of blindside backing at the Walmart stores. There's a couple. I'm not gonna say there's not any, but there's a couple. But most of the stores have the same technique and setup, so they want to see, can you do that basic setup that Walmart's going to need, or there's no point in going forward. Backing is the one thing that a lot of people fail, because they don't get out and look, and they hit the trailer and then they're done. So check out the backing video. That'll give you a good heads up on what to look for in that. Now this is more of a question that is something that are going to take place when you actually work for Walmart. You're going to be through onboarding. You're going to be through orientation. You're actually going to be done with your mentor. Your mentor is going to teach you how to set your ETDs. Now, ETD stands for estimated time of departure, not delivery, departure. So they want to know, when are you going to be ready to leave that location that you specified you're at. It could be a DC, it could be a store. This is how they know how many hours you have left on what loads to give you. What I'm about to tell you is probably going to go against what your mentor is going to have taught you. So this is a little bit more of an advanced question, somebody who's already gotten on, but here's what I do. If I am going to be coming to the DC, say with 10 hours left, maybe I was parked 45 minutes down the road, half hour, whatever. I did my pre-trip. I got on the road. I'm going to be showing up at the DC with 10 hours left. I will give myself about an hour to be out of that DC. So that gives me an hour to drop that trailer, to go to the office to get my paperwork, and to go find my next trailer and leave the yard. Now, that's a pretty basic ETD setup. Probably everybody does it that way. When you're getting close to the end of the day, if you want to run, because a lot of guys are like, do you work 14 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours? If you want to run, you make sure you tighten up them hours. And maybe say, I'm going to give myself an hour, but on the time that I've got left to drive, cut a half hour of that out. So, for example, if you're coming to the end of the day, you're coming back to the DC, you're dropping the trailer, you're wanting to get another load, and you think you're going to have about 3 hours left, I would say 3.5. Because 3 hours seems to, and you guys will learn this at your DC, and every DC may be different. You'll learn kind of how many hours you need to have for them to give you something. And a lot of the loads are given to you by the Rock, what's called the Rock. It's a central command center in Ohio. I think maybe it's just for my area. I don't know if there's a West Rock and an East Rock. I don't remember exactly, but they will give you the load. So if you tell them you got 3.5 hours left, and most runs take 2.5 to 3 hours, they might give you another run. If you tell them you only have 3 hours left, and most runs take 2.5 to 3 hours, they're not going to try to give you something that is so close that you can't possibly get it done. Now, they may give you something to where if you say, well, I'm going to take I got 3.5 hours left, and they're like, okay, well, this run's going to take 3 hours to get there and back. They might give it to you because they know you're going to make it there. You're going to make the drop, and maybe you're going to stay at that store and not make it back to the DC to sleep. That's entirely up to how you want to run. But that is how I set my EDTs. I give myself an hour to drop a trailer, get my paperwork, get my trailer, and be off the yard. And that's pretty reasonable. Most people can, I think, get done much faster than that. But I do not say, oh, I'm going to give myself a half hour and give myself 4 hours. Because what's going to happen is they control everything by your time of departure and if you can make the stops that they want to give you. And if you run into a situation where traffic, or you get stuck at a store waiting for a dock to open, or it's time to get off the yard, or anything happens, you may not make one of those stops. Now you have to talk to management and be like, well, why did you not make the stop you said you could make? It's because you didn't set your EDT properly. So anyway, a little bit of an advanced question. That's how I set my EDTs. People have been asking me, okay, if I get hired and I get done with onboarding, what is my schedule going to be? Am I going to have weekends off? Am I going to have holidays off? It's a truck driving job still. Yes, it's Walmart. It's a truck driving job, but you're not probably going to have weekends off right off the bat. And your schedule is probably going to be what they call a 5-2 extra board. That is where almost everybody starts out. I started out on extra board for 2 weeks. And then I started doing flatbed, potting soil, and I started doing that for about 2 months during that season. Once that was done, I ended up getting a 5-2, 5-3 program. Now I am next week, I'm trying to have it up next week. I'm going to have a video on all of the programs, how the calendar works, and and kind of how the pay works. There's no real good way to do pay because everybody runs different. Everybody works in different areas where different traffic and things like that. So, but I am going to give you a video of basically how the schedule works, how the vacation time works, how all that kind of stuff works. I'm hoping to have that up next week. So, but for today, when it comes to the schedule, you're going to start 5-2 extra. You're probably going to start on maybe Wednesday or Thursday out, and your days off are going to be Monday and Tuesday off. Or you might be a Friday out, and your days off are going to be Wednesday, Thursday. Now, what I mean by extra is that is where the slip seating comes into play. Now, slip seating to me and slip seating to you might be two different things. So let me explain my slip seating. Back in the day when I've worked for companies, slip seating was you got a truck, you ran a load 500 miles, you got somewhere, you dropped that truck, you got a hotel room, you woke up the next morning, you got to wherever the truck was supposed to be, or at that, maybe even at that hotel, a new truck was brought with a trailer, and your truck is now gone. You take the keys to the truck that was brought to you, you run that truck XYZ many miles. You were in a new truck every single day. That, to me, was slip seating. Slip seating at Walmart, since I've been here in a year and a half, almost 2 years, whatever it's been, is they give you a truck on your day, on your Monday, your first day, and then at the end of the week, you clean that truck out, take all your stuff out, and go home. Then next week when you come back, you're in a new truck. You're in that truck for the week. You clean it out at the end of the week, you go home. That is slip seating at Walmart. Now, I'm not going to say that 2 days into your 5 days that the truck doesn't break down, they got to put you in a new truck. To me, that's not slip seating. That's just something that happened. You had to get a new truck. There are times where they can, come to you on your Monday. And I have not had this happen to me. I hear this happens on the West Coast quite a bit. Maybe the East Coast, but here in the Midwest, in Indiana, I have not heard of this happening very often, where they say, okay, from your 1 day and 2 day, you're going to be in this truck. You're going to bring that truck back, and then for your last 3 days, you're going to be in this other truck. The reason that would happen is maybe they have a lot of trucks that are broke down, and they've got to try to fit you in where they can. Or, maybe one guy's program on it, he's on a 5-2, 5-3, you're using one guy's truck for his couple of days off and you're using the other guy. I don't know. Maybe trucks are broke down. They've got 20 trucks sitting at the shop and they're just short on trucks and they're trying to squeeze you in on people who are on vacation. That is like a rare occurrence. I've never had that happen to me. I have heard it happen to someone else, and it happened one time to that guy. So slip seating at Walmart is not what some people think it is. Yes, you don't have an assigned truck. It's not yours. You're not going to get that the first week. I should say that because I did talk to a guy who does have that situation. He just happened, they were short enough on people that he was given a truck because of his seniority and the lack of drivers. He got his own truck day one. Most people that I've talked to spend maybe 2 years at Walmart before they get a route to where they get their own truck. I think my mentor, Sean, you guys have seen his video. I think he was there about 2.5 years before he got his own truck. So what you can do, it doesn't really alleviate the slip seating, but to get off the 5.2 extra board, what they will do, and you can talk to your managers about this, is there will be a book. And it will have routes that are available. There may be a 5.2 program, a 5.2, 5.3 program, a 6.2 program, a 6.3 program. And basically all that means is if somebody, you hear 6.3, that means you work 6 days, you're off 3 days. Then you work 6 days, you're off 3 days. That's all that means. 6.2, you work 6 days, you're off 2. 5.2, 5.3 means you work 5 days, you're off 2. You work 5 days, then you're off 3. That is the program that I'm on, but that is the program where you will make some of the least money, except for like a 5.5 program that the guys that have been here for 20 years, the retiree or close to retired guys are running. Not every DC has a 5.5 program. Ask your managers what is available. There's usually a book you can check, fill out, and sign up for that spot. And a lot of guys, like I said, I got on soil 2 weeks after I started here, and 2 months later, I had a 5.2, 5.3 program. When I transferred to Gas City from Seymour, I was able to keep my 5.2, 5.3 program. At Gas City right now, as what is today, June 3rd, June 4th, we have people that are hiring in and joining the 5.2, 5.3 programs. My program only has 2 guys in it right now, so we've been keeping our trucks for the last week or 2 or 3, whatever it's been. There's supposed to be a new guy coming in next week. We'll see if that happens. If not, me and my partner just tell each other, hey, we're going to keep our trucks until they give us one. We let the manager know, hey, we're keeping our trucks. And normally they're okay with it. Sometimes they're not. If they're short on trucks, they got to use yours for somebody else, whatever. But that's how that's going to work. So check the books. Check with your manager, see if they got a program available, and you'll get your own truck. But again, slip seating at Walmart means even in a 5.2, 5.3 program, you're slip seating because I use the truck for a week, I get out of it, I come back in 2 or 3 days whenever my off days are done, and I get in the other truck. Now, the good thing with that is you're working with other guys. If you're on a 5.2, 5.3 program, you've got 2 trucks used with 3 guys. You talk to the other 2 guys and you say, hey, I'm going to put a microwave in this truck. If one of you guys want to put a microwave in that truck, just leave them in there. We'll just share them. If one of the guys wants to put a TV in one of the trucks that's his, when he leaves, he'll take it with him. But in the meantime, while you guys are in that truck and there's a TV in there, use the TV. Talk to your buddies. Talk to your partners on your program, because you guys might be able to help alleviate a lot of the slip seating troubles of taking stuff in and out. Now, of course, you got to take out your bedding and your clothes and stuff like that, but maybe you don't have to take out the microwaves or the TVs or whatever else that you guys put in there. All Walmart trucks that I know of come with refrigerators, and that's pretty much it. Do you want to put a microwave in there? You can put one in there. I've heard some trucks come with microwaves, but I haven't seen one of those yet. But either way, talk to your partners. Okay, another question I get asked a lot is, how much money will I actually make at Walmart? This is a very tough question to answer because, as you know, it's going to vary. Now, Walmart says you start out, I think now they've upped there. It used to be 87, but now it goes to, I think they started at 95 to 103 or something like that. As you guys have seen, there is a video that I did, and again, if I can figure out how to put it in this video, I will. I did a video where I showed you my actual paycheck, and that was a paycheck that I got 2 or 3 weeks after the new pay. I wanted to wait for the new pay to come out so that you guys could see the actual pay. Again, I work a 5.2, 5.3 program. It's going to vary based on your hours. If you work a straight 5.2 extra or 5.2 schedule, you're going to make more than I did. Almost every single route option is going to make more than my pay stub did. And I think, if I remember correctly, when we did that video and I planned out throughout the 26 paydays what my yearly pay would be, it was going to be $105,000 gross, I believe. But that's, I'm running 5.2, 5.3. If I was to switch to a 5.2 program, I'm going to be getting an extra day's pay per paycheck, basically. Because I basically work 9 days per pay period right now, except for like 1 or 2 weeks of the system. Again, when I do the video for schedules and pay. Hopefully I'll get that done next week. You guys will see what I'm talking about. But I cannot imagine a person coming to Walmart working diligently. And I mean, at Walmart, you can slack off and really take your time, and you can make this a cushy job. You may not hit the 100,000 mark, but if you are the type of person who likes to work 12 to 14 hours a day and really run that clock, I think if the numbers are right, I don't see why you couldn't make 120,000 a year to start out. Now, guys, that have been here a couple years and they're making an extra 5 or 10 cents. I think it's like 8, 10 cents when you get to the top scale. They're going to make a little bit more based on the miles. But the thing about Walmart is it's not about the miles. You get paid for the miles. You get paid for the bumping the dock. You get paid for the dropping hooks. You get paid when you arrive to a location. You get paid $42 a night to sleep in your truck. So there's lots of ways to make money at Walmart. It's not all about speeding up and down the highway and getting those miles. There's a lot of other ways to do it. So as far as like what can you make at Walmart, realistically, over 100,000 your first year is no joke. Could you make 120? I honestly think so. I think there's guys out there that have been here a little while, that have got a 5-2 program. Now, you could also do something that's called extending. That's where you say, hey, instead of having 2 days off, I'm going to work a 6th day. They normally will give you a bonus for that. A lot of times they have a bonus set up. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's like, hey, you just want to work an extra day, fine. But when they've got that extension bonus, at my location, it's normally $275. Now, think about it. If you're getting $42 to sleep in your truck, and you're getting $275 just to extend 6 hours. That's all you have to work. When you extend, you have to have a minimum of 6 hours. If you've got more time, great. But if you're working 5-2 and you're putting in 10 to 12 hours a day, you're not going to have a lot of extra time to work that 6th day. So before you even wake up and start your 6th day, 275 plus 42, you're looking at almost $350 just to get started. 325, 350, something like that. And you haven't gone a single mile, you haven't bumped a dock, you haven't dropped a hook, you haven't arrived, you haven't done anything. It's very easy to make $400, $500, $600 on an extension day, and that is going to raise your pay a lot. And it's also, you get PTO based on the hours that you work. I think every 100 hours is worth, oh gosh, now I can't remember how that works. Anyway, you're going to get, your PTO time is based on the time that your hours worked. So the more hours you work, the more PTO time you're going to get. Now, you do get a max of 24, 5, 6. I can't remember how many days it is. I think there's a max, or maybe the max is based on the hours you can work. I don't know. But anyway, PTO time is going to be based on that. But there's guys, I think, that are making $150,000, $160,000 a year at Walmart, working 5 days a week and extending every so often and just doing what they do. So the money is at Walmart if you're looking for it. Okay. Another question I get is people who are thinking about applying or who are in the applying process, they want to know, do I need to give my old company a 2-week notice? It's entirely up to you. Here's a situation that happens a lot that people are worried about. You come to onboarding, you used vacation time, PTO time, whatever you did, and you didn't tell your boss you were going to try to get a job at Walmart. You show up to onboarding and you pass. Now what? Walmart's going to want you to go to orientation on Monday, but you haven't given your old boss a 2-week notice. What do? If you give the boss the 2-week notice, Walmart is okay with that. They understand you are not going, it would be irresponsible for you to come to onboarding like I did and already have given your 2-week notice and left your other job or told your boss you were coming or whatever, and then not make it through onboarding. What do? Can you go back to your old job? Or you got to get a new job? Walmart understands that. When you come to onboarding, if you pass, you just let them know, hey, I need to give my old boss a 2-week notice. I can't be there on Monday. Can you schedule my orientation 2 weeks later? Because if my understanding, at most locations, they do the onboarding every 2 weeks. And I think they do it for this kind of a reason, because they know that this kind of thing is going to happen. I think during now when they're doing the big hiring, I think they started doing it every week for a month, but normally I think they do it every 2 weeks. So you just tell them, hey, can you set me up for orientation in 2 weeks when the next class comes through? And you serve out your 2-week notice at your other company, you leave on good terms, and then you come over to Walmart. Here's the other side of the coin. And this happened to somebody I know. They used vacation time. They came to Walmart. They said, hey, I'm going to go back and do my 2-week notice. They went back, and it was complete hell for 2 weeks. Their routes were horrible. They were given trucks that broke down. The old company didn't care anymore because they knew they were leaving in 2 weeks. Why would they do some companies are like that. Why would they do anything for you when they know you're leaving them? If you think you might be working for a company like that, maybe you just call the company and say, hey, look, I wish I could give you a 2-week notice, but I applied at Walmart and I got hired and they want me to start Monday. I'm sorry, but I got to go, because that's the way it is in the trucking world. Trucking company, if they need to let you go. I worked for Falcon a couple years ago, and I don't know if you guys remember Falcon. They were the company that just one night shut down and left all their drivers stranded all over the country. Now, thank goodness I happened to be at home that night. It was my day off when they did it. But there were drivers who were stuck out there with no data cards, no fuel cards, no way to get home. The trucks were just parked in random places and had to be picked up. They sent out emails saying, hey, you're no longer working for Falcon. Park the truck where it is or take it to a DC. Some guys didn't even do that. They were so far away, they just parked it and left it. If you think you work for a company that's going to make your life hell for 2 weeks or whatever, maybe just apologize and say, hey, I wish I could give you a 2-week notice, but I can't, and bounce. You already got hired at Walmart. I mean, yeah, if something happens at Walmart down the road and you need to find another job, maybe you won't be able to go back to that job. So think about, is it worth burning that bridge? If that is a bridge, if that's going to burn that bridge, maybe not do that. But there's lots of companies out there that you could possibly get hired on with. So that's going to be a situation you need to decide for yourself. But Walmart understands, if you come there and you need to give a 2-week notice to your old job and you can't come to Walmart right away, do not worry. Not a single person have I talked to has had an issue with that. People in my class had to do that. And Walmart was like, hey, do what you got to do. We'll see you in 2 weeks. It's not a problem. So don't sweat that. Do what you need to do that fits your lifestyle and your career. Another question that I get asked a lot when somebody sends me an email, they go, hey man, can you send me the pre-trip? And if you have any pointers, let me know. I think I've pretty much tried to explain most things to you guys in the videos when I did them. Now, according to this video, I had to do a frequently asked questions because these were questions that people asked. Maybe I didn't do the video yet, like the backing. The backing was the most recent video I did. So when people asked me about backing, I didn't have that video. So I did that video to help alleviate people asking that question. But any pointers? This is the one thing I tell everybody. Watch my videos if you haven't watched them and see if that answers the questions you may have. If it doesn't, let me know. And the basic thing that's going to happen is when you go to onboarding or when you're doing anything with Walmart, from day one to the end of days, go slow, take your time, do it right, and I guess that's really about it. I mean, that's when you're unhooking a trailer, when you're hooking a trailer, when you're doing your pre-trips, take your time. Go slow. You do not have to rush at Walmart. I know a lot of us truck drivers, we have gotten accustomed to this go, go, go. It's almost like it's in our blood that we are just constantly on the move. Got to keep moving. Got to make the money. Got to get the miles. Got to. Micromanaging everything. It's not like that at Walmart. Now, I've heard there's some DCs that people feel like they're watched over or they're scrutinized, or that is an isolated DC issue. I have been at many DCs here in the Indiana Midwest area. I have never once, not one time, felt like I was asked to do something I couldn't do, that I was pressured into anything, that somebody was watching over my shoulder. Yeah, the truck has cameras that are outward facing. But they only activate and record for 8 seconds at a time. They're not constantly watching you. So if something happens, they'll bring you in the office and maybe say, hey, what happened in this situation here? And they do that not to, hey, whoa. It's more of a learning, a teaching tool. Well, what can we do to prevent that next time? Okay, cool. Thanks. And that's it. It's a verbal discussion. It's not even something that they write you up for unless you actually did something, or maybe, did something wrong. But I don't know of anybody who's had that happen. Nobody from my class that I know of has had that happen. I got called into an office one time because I was following a little bit too close. The guy in front of me hit his brakes because somebody in front of him did something. There was no harm, no foul, nothing came of it. I wasn't super close, but I was a little closer than maybe I should have been because I was wanting to get into the left lane. But as I was trying to get over into the left lane, there was a car that came out from behind of me, got a side of me. And then when I looked back forward, that guy hit his brake. So it was just a situation I didn't have to put myself in. It was a situation I found myself in on accident. But could I have done something different? Yeah, I could have a little bit better following distance. Maybe I could have checked that the lane was clear, which at that point it was, before I started to make the move. It was just basically about following distance. And they just wanted to ask me about it. And they said, okay, no problem. And the main thing that they were upset about was I blew my horn at the car because I had my signal on. I was getting ready to move over when they, around me, I blew my horn. At Walmart, everybody out there is a customer. They do not want you doing stuff like that because then in that person's mind, they're going to be thinking, oh, that Walmart driver did this, that Walmart driver did that. I mean, as you guys know, and you ask your friends, hey, what do you guys think of truck drivers? They're going to say, oh, these guys cut us off. They always do this. Truck drivers are evil, worst driving jerks in the world. But nobody ever thinks about a Walmart driver doing something like that. They say, oh, well, Swift always gets in accidents, or, this company always does this, or this company does that. Most of the time, Walmart doesn't have that reputation because of the way Walmart drivers have been trained and the way the Walmart drivers are expected to work. So they were, I would say scolded me, but they were like, we taught you in onboarding and at orientation, you guys are not allowed to do that, right? You don't blow your horn at people. You don't flip them the bird. You don't use sign language. None of that. Yes, you did. Why did you do it? Bad habit. I've been a driver for 10 years. That's just how drivers are. I mean, somebody cuts you off, you give them sign language, you blow your horn, whatever, even in your car, whatever. So that's what they were mostly upset about. They're like, okay, don't do the horn no more. Okay, cool. That's what they were worried about. The following distance, they were like, hey, okay, next time give yourself a little bit more space. Sure, no problem. They were upset about the horn. So the best pointers I can give you, sorry, get back on topic. Go slow, take your time, double check, make sure you've got things done the way you need to do. Don't, forget to undo your airlines, which I know sounds crazy, but it happens. Don't forget the fuel nozzle and drive off. I know it sounds crazy, but the way their systems are at the DCs, that you're fueling both sides, you maybe shut off the one pump, you get to talking to a guy that walked up about whatever, and you forget that nozzle was on the other side. You get in the truck and you pull out, blam, you pull the nozzle out. It happens all the time. Way more than you would think. And I know some of you are probably sitting there going, how do these guys do this stuff? I'm telling you, it happens. I thought the same thing. I'm like, how could somebody forget to not unhook their airlines? Just over a year into being at Walmart. It was snowy. It was nasty. It was whatever. I was doing my pre-trip. I got everything done except for the airlines. I was walking after I had cranked the landing gear down. I was walking up to the airlines, and I slipped and fell into a puddle, and my leg got all wet, and I was all disgusting, and I'm trying to brush myself off and get cleaned up, and I'm like, God, I'm soaking wet. I'm like, I'm gonna put on a new pair of pants because I had extra clothes in the truck with me. I'm gonna put on a new pair of pants. So I went in, I put on my new pair of pants, I sat down in the driver's seat, and I'm looking around, and all right, I'm ready to go. Completely forgot that I hadn't unhooked my airlines. And I started to pull forward, and I heard the spring. Now, luckily, I I didn't pull the airlines. I stopped because I hadn't even really gotten far from the trailer. I stopped, parked, got out. I saw, okay, so I unhooked them, hung them up. It was cool. Nothing, no harm, no foul. But then I went, okay, I guess that's how somebody could forget to do their airlines. You get distracted. Things happen. So take your time. Go slow. Do it at onboarding. They're going to tell you, you got 30 minutes to do this. You got 30 minutes, but at the same time, they would much rather you get it right and do it right than do it quick and screw something up. So take your time, do it right, everything you do. If you do that at Walmart, you're going to be good no matter what you do. Pre-trip, onboarding, been there 10 years, on the road, at a store, DC, whatever, doesn't matter. If you just do that, that's the best advice I can give you for anything you're going to be going through. Okay, when you get hired and you're going through onboarding and you make it to orientation and you've got to go do the DOT physical part, people have asked me, does Walmart require a sleep study? I don't think it's a Walmart policy per se. It's up to the doctor that does your DOT physical. I have had doctors say, we should get this done. I've had doctors say, do you snore? They ask you all the questions and they go, no, they never sent me for one. Now, I did end up going to a doctor one time. As you guys know, I'm a bigger guy. I'm actually going to be going through weight loss surgery in October. Thanks to Walmart, they're helping me get that done. But the, what was I saying? Oh, the sleep study. There was a doctor who had me do the sleep study, and I had no issues. I think you're allowed 16 occurrences throughout the night. I only had 2, and they were minor. They weren't even actual occurrences, so they said, nope, you're good. When I was at Walmart, I gave them a copy of the sleep study that was done 2 years before, and they were like, okay, cool, no problem. So if you had a sleep study done, take that paperwork with you. You might need it, or be able to get it faxed to them from the place that did the sleep study. But Walmart, I don't think the company requires the sleep study. I think that is all up to the DOT physician and at the time of your medical card. That's the best I can tell you about that. Again, I'll try to look into, does Walmart require it? But I don't think that's a Walmart required item. That's a doctor issue. One question I get asked a lot is, why do so many people fail onboarding? I'm going to say a lot. When I went through my class, about 50% made it through. But I heard about a class a month ago that was 47 people. Which I don't know how they did 47 people, but they had 47 people at onboarding. 42 of them passed. That's most. I don't know if most people fail, but I think the person's question was really like, why do people fail the onboarding? Because they don't slow down and take their time. Because the people, the CDTs say, you have 8 minutes to do this. You have 30 minutes to do this. People freak out. Don't do that. Yes, they say you have 30 minutes to do the pre-trip. If you take 31, but you do everything well, and they see you know what you're doing, they're not going to worry about that. It's not a cut and dry, you do 30 minutes or you're done. It's a guideline for the most part. Yes, they want you to do it under 30 minutes. If you make a couple mistakes and you go over 30 minutes, okay, that's probably going to be a problem. But, and I'm not saying take 40 minutes, but if you take 31, 32, if you go over a little bit, and they might even stress, you got 30 minutes. I think I did mine in over 30. I think it was like 31 minutes. I don't even remember. It was close. They never said a word. I don't remember them saying a word to anybody in the class about they failed because they went over time. Most people fail because doing the pre-trip, they miss critical components. Seatbelt, not checking the kingpin, whatever. I think there's like 4, I think in the pre-trip, I even told you there's a couple critical issues. I think the kingpin was definitely one of them. I'm sure of it. But missing a critical item, that'll kick you. I think that's an automatic fail. It doesn't matter if you did it in 15 minutes. You miss one of those, you're done. So the other thing is, if you want my pre-trip guide, I'm more than happy to send it to you. It will give you a little bit of a heads up. but I'm now hearing they give you a pre-trip packet like mine at onboarding. I'm not saying that they got the idea from me, but it showed up about 2 months after I know Walmart saw my videos because my boss was telling me about it. And anyway, so they give you a packet now. It's a pre-trip guide, and I've had guys tell me that my packet is very similar to the packet that they got. My packet helped them because they were able to get a leg up on things before they got there. They could practice before, whatever. So if you want that, I'll email it to you. Don't leave me your email on YouTube or just say, send me the pre-trip. I don't have your email address. Send me an email. I will send it to you in the reply. But that's why most people fail. They freak out. They get in their own head. That's why I almost failed. I think I told you the story in a previous video about how I got confused and I froze. I got in my own head because I had already given up my job and I was, oh, what if I don't, blah, 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 whatever. So they don't get out and look when they're doing backing. That is another one. They hit the trailer. Get out and look. You can get out and look as many times as you want. At least you could when I went through. And you can do a pull-up as many times as you want. The only thing they tell you is you have to do it, and I think they give you 15 minutes because I think I did it in 6 or something like that. They give you a crazy amount of time to do it. Just don't hit the trailer. I literally think that, and honk your horn when you back up. Those are the only 2 things I think you can possibly do wrong to not pass the backing portion. And when you're on the road, it's okay to go slow. Nobody is saying that you have to drive that semi like you would drive that semi like you did before you got at Walmart. And I say like you did before you get at Walmart because once you get through the orientation at Walmart, I have not met a driver, and I'm sure somebody will comment on here, oh, I didn't learn nothing, but I haven't met a driver yet. And I've talked to guys, there was a guy in our class that was a 30-year owner-operator, went through that Walmart onboarding, and at the end of that onboarding, everybody said they learned something from the Walmart onboarding. You're going to learn new things at Walmart. You're going to learn about bad habits you have that you need to get rid of. They're going to work through all that with you. But that's the main reason that people fail. The pre-trip, they miss something critical, which most people fail either the backing or the road test. Most people don't fail the pre-trip. The backing, you hit the trailer because you didn't get out and look or you didn't do proper pull-up. And on the road, a lot of people, if they fail, I think I've only had 2 people that have said they failed the road part. And I think there was a guy in our class who either failed or almost failed. I think he almost failed because he hit a curb. The back tire got a little bit too close, and the instructor said that it hit a curb. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I wasn't there. I can't say. But everybody always says, I didn't hit the curb. The instructor says they did, and they're done. You hit a curb, you're done. So take your time. When you're driving with that instructor, do 5 under the speed limit. That's not illegal. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't do 10 or nothing, don't get crazy, but go slow. Take your time. Don't overthink it, but if I had somebody ask me, does Walmart allow you to turn right on red? Yeah. As far as I know, they've never said nothing to me about it. Maybe that instructor doesn't do that in his truck, and maybe he doesn't want you to do that. If you're at a red light, a lot of times, especially on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when you're doing the practice, ask them. Now, if you get a crappy instructor that says, I can't tell you that right now, do what you think is best. And then at the end of that drive, ask the CDT that question. Those instructors, those CDTs, they're going to tell you what you want to know. And if that guy's being whatever, ask a different CDT and see what he says. But I don't think there's a problem with turning right on red, but a lot of times they're driving, you hit a curb. Those are the main reasons that you wouldn't pass the onboarding at Walmart, but do what you need to do, talk to your CDTs, get the information, and you should be able to pass with no problem. Get out and look, take your time, do it right. Sleep study during your Okay, another question that I get quite often. During the pre-trip, do I have to touch every item that I'm talking about? Now, if I remember correctly, when we did ours, and I know I heard this from not only my CDT, but other people who were doing it, when you're doing the pre-trip, you're going to hear them say they do not want you to build the truck. You don't have to touch every single thing. What you're going to hear them say over and over and over is start at the top, left to right, top to bottom. Make sure you don't miss anything. They're going to tell you that 1,000 times. Point in the general area of the items that you're looking at and say them. I'm pretty sure that's what they're really looking for is, I'm going to start with my lines, my hoses, and you don't have to say not bent, cracked, broken, missing like you did for the state test, because I did that, and that's where they're like, you're wasting time. You don't have to do that. You can say it once, like, hey, I'm going to check all my lines and hoses for, air leaks to make sure they're not cracked, bent, broken, or missing. I'm also going to check all this over here. You kind of group things into a group, and then you can say that. Don't repeat that for every single item. The other thing, when you say, oh, I'm checking the castle nuts and cotter pins, you don't have to try to get down there and touch every single one of them. Just say, I'm checking the 5. I think there was 5 that whatever the rule that they want you to say, there's a certain way they wanted you to say it. I'm checking the castle nut and cotter pins to make sure they're not cracked, bent, broken, or missing, or loose, or whatever it is they want. And they will tell you on Tuesday, the CDT is going to go out there and show you how they want it done. Now they give you the pre-trip, or you've got my pre-trip. Go along and make sure they're saying, if there's a key word that you hear them say, where they say, maybe they don't say cracked, bent, broken, or missing. Maybe they say, I'm checking the castle nut pins for missing cotter pins, or I'm checking lines for leaks. Maybe they say specifically what they're looking for. I don't think that's a problem. I don't think you have to get as crazy as I did and do the cracked, bent, broken, missing, damaged, whatever they teach you to say at state to cover your butt and cover all your bases. But talk to your CDTs. Ask them. They are there to help you. They are not there to fail you. They don't want to just be mean to people. What they want is to make sure that you are Walmart material and that you can do it the Walmart way. That's all they care about. So talk to your CDTs and instructors. Okay, I guess this question I've actually gotten a couple times, and I guess I understand why people would ask this question. When I did these videos, again, I was straight out of the classroom, and I did the videos because I couldn't find this information when I was wanting to go to onboarding and orientation and get started with Walmart. But I've had people say, now that you've been there for over a year, you've been there for a while, is Walmart still as awesome as you say it is? I'm going to use this last experience that I just had a couple weeks ago. I mean, I could probably give you a couple with my weight loss surgery. The time off that I'm going to get, my boss has been awesome with that. But I'm going to use the one that really made me and my family kind of realize how awesome Walmart is. As you guys may have heard in this video, or I may have emailed you apologizing that I didn't get back to you in time. We had a death in the family. The guy is basically my brother. We've grown up together. He's lived with my family. He's lived with my parents. We're very, very close. His daughter passed away. She was only 20 years old. And there were some complications because of other family members that made things completely disastrous. And what I thought was just going to be a funeral, couple days off, I'd come back to work because everything was happening at the beginning of my work week. I told the boss, I said, I think I'm going to be gone 3 days. I'll put in PTO time and then I'll be back. And he was like, why don't you just go ahead and take the time? It's like, well, no, because I don't think I'm going to need it. I'll be back in 3 days. I think everything will be fine. He's like, okay, well, just let us know what you need. And he told me several times. He even texted me later and said, hey, when he first heard about it, he's like, hey, I'm sorry to hear about your family member. That was cool. And then he walked up to me in person later and said, hey, if you need anything, we're here. If you need extra time off, let me know. I'll give you whatever you need. And I thought, man, okay. That kind of put me at ease a little bit because with other jobs, you got to hurry up and get back. And I haven't really experienced anything like this at Walmart. Then I get back home and there's an issue with getting the body to Northwest Indiana and getting the details done for the the issue with the other family and the burial process and where things were going to happen. And it became a huge fiasco, and I ended up needing the entire week off. And I just called and I said, hey, I here's the situation. He was like, you don't even have to explain. He goes, take all the time you need. We're just going to put you out indefinitely for right now. Just let me know when you're coming back. I could have missed 2 weeks if I needed to. I did end up missing the week that I was supposed to be at work that week. And then, of course, then at the end of that week, you got your other regular days off. So I used all that, and then I went back the next week. But it was absolutely amazing how willing my boss was to let me have whatever time I needed. He, came to me personally, texted me. The guy was amazing. And when I was at Seymour, I kind of got the same feeling. Now, I didn't have any experiences there, but just knowing the manager, Jason, and the people at Seymour, I kind of got the same feeling that that's how they would treat their drivers there. The 6 months that I was there, I was treated very well at Seymour. I'm hoping that you guys have the same experiences at the DCs that you work at. Again, I know some DCs, the managers aren't the greatest, and okay, not sure what happened, video cut out, but anyway, I'm hoping you guys have the same experiences at your DCs that I've had at mine. I'm going to be taking off a month in October because I'm having the weight loss surgery, and my boss told me, he goes, you don't even have to put it down for vacation. He goes, just let me know, we'll give you a leave of absence. The guy has been amazing at the Gas City DC. Dave, I'm sorry, I keep saying the guy, but I don't know if you guys know Dave. Dave is amazing. So hopefully you guys have the same experiences at your DCs that I've had at mine. The pay is great at Walmart. My wife loves me working at Walmart. I love working at Walmart. The people are awesome at Walmart. I mean, there's no perfect job. I mean, if things were perfect, would I have my own truck and never have to get out of a truck? And, I mean, that's literally about the only thing I can complain about at Walmart. The job is easy. The people are great. I mean, yeah, I did learn in a YouTube video, if you guys go back and look at the comments, that about 10 years ago, maybe or so, that Walmart had a person come up in corporate that did some things to the drivers that changed a lot of the things at Walmart. And they kind of got they didn't care anymore feeling, and Walmart and the drivers had a big clash. Maybe that's gone. I don't know. All I can talk about is what I've experienced since I've been at Walmart recently. I can't talk about what happened in the past because I wasn't there, and maybe those old-time drivers have a gripe based on those things that happen. It would make sense since that one guy pointed out some of the things that happened. But since I have been at Walmart, it's the best job I've ever had. I don't want to say it's a perfect job, but it's as close to perfect as I've ever had. And I've had a few in my 10 years driving truck. And before I drove truck, I had a bazillion jobs before that. And I can't imagine a reason why I would ever leave Walmart. Walmart has been absolutely amazing. Even the insurance benefits. I think the Walmart insurance is some of the best insurance I've ever had. And I worked as a Teamster in Chicago, and their insurance was about the same as far as quality, but it was twice the price. And I got the same insurance at Walmart for half the price. So I know some people don't like the insurance at Walmart. I don't know why. Maybe they just don't know how insurance has changed over the last few years. Maybe they do. I don't know. But my experiences, guys, if you're thinking about signing up for Walmart, you should have done it a week ago. You should have done it a year ago, because that's the one thing everybody says when they get on at Walmart. Man, I should have done this a long time ago. I never thought I could get on at Walmart. That's why I never applied there. When my dad was like, hey, apply. What's the worst going to happen? They're going to tell you no? Okay. And look at me. I got in. I'm a Walmart driver. I know a lot of guys may comment on this video, oh, there's a Kool-Aid drinker. I don't care what you guys say, because I know my life. I know my situation. I know what I'm going through, and I love this job. The pay is great. Insurance is great. Everything. I mean, my boss is great. Everything is great for me at Walmart. So, again, if you guys are looking to get in, you want to use me as a referral, I would appreciate it. For those of you that watched the beginning of the video, if you didn't, I would love your thoughts I would love your ideas on what can I do for you if you use me as a referral. I'm really hoping that I could maybe give everybody a little bit of a kickback, and there can be a bigger prize. If you guys think that's a good idea, let me know. If not, maybe I'll just work really hard to get this channel up to 1,000 viewers and get it where it can be monetized, where my CPA can start writing off the money that I give to drivers on my taxes. Now, of course, I think if I give you more than $600, I have to give you, I think it's a 1099 or something, and then you have to write it off on your taxes. So maybe we don't go that far. Maybe I give you guys a couple $100, but as long as I can write it off on my taxes, that would be fantastic, as long as the bankruptcy attorney approves it. So I've got some hurdles, and I've got some personal issues that I've got going on, that's the reason that I can't just give everybody a big kickback off my sign-on or referral bonuses. I wish I could. I really, really do. As you guys have seen in my videos, I love helping people. I went to radio school way, way back in the day. I love the radio stuff. I love doing these videos. Not sure there's a lot of content I can give you, because a lot of my videos have just been about helping people at Walmart or get into Walmart. There's only so much information I can give you. There's only going to be so many videos, so I don't know how much content I can make to make the channel get to a bunch of subscribers. But if you guys have got ideas, if you guys want something that I can give you, let me know. I will do whatever I can to help you guys help me and make Walmart a better place. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. The email is in the description below, as well as all the other information. So look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.